Welcome to Movie and a Beer, everybody. This is Dan Kapersky. On this wonderful episode, we're going to be reviewing the movie Shawshank Redemption. Woo. And with us today, we have our wonderful, as always, co-hosts.
I'm Blake. I'm the Shawshank expert.
Yes. I'm Randall. I'm Randall.
Redemption expert.
He's the Redemption King.
Redemption King.
Ooh.
So it is the beginning of the year. It's the 1st of January. We normally don't put a date on ourselves, but we're dating this one because we wanted to survive.
We date a lot of these, actually.
Yeah, well, we really wanted to celebrate the survival of 2020. It has come and gone. We still have a pandemic thing going on, but it's not too bad. But we still wanted to just watch something to give us some inspiration and hope and changing our lives and making our lives better.
It's also a rainy day, and this is a really, really good rainy day movie.
It is. Mm-hmm. I think we've all seen it before.
Yeah.
At least once.
Like years ago.
Yeah, I think I probably saw it on TV because this is actually a kid-friendly film in some ways.
For the most part.
Kind of, maybe?
By no means is this kid-friendly. There is prison rape.
It's like the other...
murder. There's
basically every Walt Disney film that came out in the last decade. But,
I mean, it's the same thing as Tarantino movies, right? Kids can watch Kill Bill. That's fine.
Yeah. So, I say that in jest. We did enjoy a couple of really good beers while we watched it. We went in with the expectation that we're hopefully going to stay awake during the whole thing, which we did. Yeah. And we enjoyed some snacks at the beginning.
And I thought it was going to be touch and go, but God, this movie's just so good.
Yeah.
I brought beers in for the later half of the movie, and after a whole monologue, Dan turns to me and says, "Are you going to open one of those?" Like, oh, right, I brought beers in.
You did. You rescued us.
Such a good movie.
But we were hydrating a lot while we were watching it as well because some of us partied a little bit too hard for the New Year's Eve celebrations and getting rid of 2020. So,
yeah, we crawled through the poop tunnel of 2020.
Yeah, we did, just like they do in the movie.
Wait, that happens in the movie?
That does happen in the movie. He said, 500 yards or something like that? Yep. 150 feet? Or no, 1,500 feet.
Basically,
so like
half a mile.
500 yards.
5 football fields and just under half a mile.
I can't imagine how long that would have taken him because it was small. That was a really small pipe he was crawling through, too.
I wonder what felt longer, the 20 years he was in prison or the crawling through the pipe. That's a question I don't need an answer to.
That is a good question.
So brief recap?
Guy gets sent to jail for killing his wife and his wife's lover after a fight. He claims he didn't do it. That's the redemption in the end, is he finds out he actually probably didn't do it. He couldn't remember at that point. He's, 20 years in prison.
At the loss of an excellent character.
Yeah.
Although by the end of it, I think Andy kind of feels like he did do it, right?
Well, he says that. He says he drove his wife away, and that's why he owns the responsibility for the death, which is sad.
Yeah.
Very kid-friendly.
It's very kid-friendly. Yeah, there was this was a great story. This was originally a Stephen King movie.
Stephen King novella. Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption.
Rita Hayworth, the Shawshank Redemption.
Fun bit of trivia I was checking out while we were watching. Frank Darabont removed the Rita Hayworth part because he was afraid actresses were going to submit themselves thinking it's a biopic. He was worried they're going to think, oh, it's a biopic about Rita Hayworth, whereas we get 3 women in the movie.
Yeah.
It's a men's prison, so it's mostly men.
Yeah, the entire film is all men, and anytime they portray a woman, she's either on a poster, women on the poster, she's a cheating wife, or she's a cranky grocery store customer.
Or she works in a bank.
Or she I
forgot about the customer.
Yeah, there's customers and random people in the background in some of the bank scenes at the end. But yes, he does find himself free, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, I think we have to worry about plot spoiling, but back then in the 60s, if he did actually get away with about $300,000, that would be more than enough to buy a hotel in Mexico.
That's so much money.
It would be $2.9 million in today's money.
Wow.
Yeah, withdrawing all of those cashier checks.
Take that, warden. Shakes fist.
Yeah. We were talking about while we were watching it, and that would be a really awesome beer name, because there's some interesting phrases utilized.
Sunny Jesus.
That's right.
Because someone gets sweared at.
The lead evil guard played brilliantly by Clancy Brown.
Yes.
Current voice of Mr. Krabs. Calls somebody Sonny Jesus, I think, because he uses the Lord's name in vain, and one of the prisoners tells him, "Oh, Warden's going to lock you up for that." It's like, "Oh, God!" I just start yelling and beating dude. Oh my God, so scary.
They have a lot of antiquated, funny terms when they're angry. back in the 40s, I guess, and Sonny Jesus was one of them.
Yes.
That's wild.
Very true.
I wish I could remember that line. What was the line? Anyways, what kind of beer is Sonny Jesus, Dan?
We kind of decided that would probably be a Kolsch. Because,
Yeah.
Kolsch's tend to be sunny beers. They look like the sun because they should be the beautiful yellow hue.
I could see the can being a 60s style hippie Jesus.
Yes.
Yes, the velvet.
Velvet,
velvet,
arms
yeah.
out, sunshine around him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
I think. So breweries, there's our pitch. Just give us credit. Thank you.
We'll find someone to collab on that one. Because we did drink a collaboration beer. Actually, 2 collaboration beers tonight.
Gasp.
Name
I
the
know.
beers, Dan.
Okay, so while we did enjoy this wonderful film, were we going to do a commercial break before we talk about beers? Or are we just going to kind of
Let's go back and forth. Let's talk about the beers, then we can maybe talk about
they
which
fit.
characters in the beers which characters
right.
would drink what beers, and if we thought these beers were overall good fits for this film.
Sounds awesome. So the first one that we did was a beer called Hazy Collab IPA. And there were 2 breweries here in Portland, one called Level Brewing, which we've had beer of theirs before, most excellent, and the other is Town Brewing. So these 2 breweries took the same ingredients, the same beer, same process. They collaborated, and one made a clear juicy IPA and one made a hazy juicy IPA using the exact same ingredients. It's like it doesn't matter if it's hazy or not. That's kind of the fun part of it being hazy or clear. 6.5%. The one that we drank, the hazy, was actually done by Level Brewing itself. The clear was done by Old Town. Really, really good hop profile. It wasn't like a linger bittering on the tongue. It just kind of sat there a little bit. It was actually more juicy than anything and dried a little bit, which I really enjoyed. I don't know what else you guys think about the beer. You did try
That
it.
was the first one?
Yes.
Yes. I liked it. I thought it was, of the 2 beers, the second one being this ESB, I really liked that first one a lot.
Yeah.
It was really juicy. I thought it went really well with the film. It felt, there was a lot of beautiful Maine landscapes in this film, warm summer Maine days, and I felt like I could totally be in Maine drinking this beer.
This feels like a Maine kind of beer.
Yeah, it was the Maine beer.
Good one.
Welcome to Moving a Beer. We have beer opinions and wordplay.
And puns. Puns on puns. So yeah, this was a really nice hazy IPA, just clean, medium-bodied. I want to say that we all had probably at least a half a glass of it, if not more.
I had a
And
full can.
You had a full
I had
can?
a full
You're
can.
lucky. We had enough to splurge for more, but I think, as I mentioned before, we're recovering from the previous evening. and we
Randall
didn't
was
wanna
smart.
Imbibe
Yeah.
too hard.
I went to bed at 10:30 last night.
Oh,
so
you're lucky.
That was great.
Some of us stayed up way too late, and had champagne.
That's probably what did it.
Yeah.
I would
It was
not
good.
doubt that.
you had 2 glasses of champagne last night. You were teetotaling it.
It was great. There was 2 of everything.
Totally recommend this. The first beer. Find a nice hazy IPA. Love it. It's really good. Collaboration between 2 breweries. The second beer that we tried was called Nerd Immunity, and it is an ESB, or an extra special bitter, which doesn't mean it's more bitter than not. It just means that they use special ingredients.
Special bitters.
It
Special
means
bitters.
it's special, like when you tell a child they're special.
Correct. And so it's from Fortside Brewing in Vancouver. And it was a collaboration between them and a Facebook group of all things called Beer Nerds. And it's a group that I recently joined, and
I got suckered into it.
he got suckered into it. I
Now
posted.
my Facebook wall is nothing but D&D memes and beer memes. I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying that's what's happening now.
Yeah, and their cans actually. The previous cans that we had were really similar in style and as far as the profile of the can, the information on it. It was the same design, just one was lighter and one was darker. The Nerd Immunity is actually really cool because it's like a big sticker that looks like a chalkboard, and it has all these nerdy things on it.
I see a D20.
There's a D20. There's little amulet that is given to from Lord of the Rings. It's right there.
Oh, nice.
It's the amulet thingy that the king, who becomes king.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, no.
For one of the biggest films in history.
Yeah. So there's like a 6-sided dice, a 20-sided dice. There's a
The
Star
best
Trek
part,
thing.
the best part's the giant pair of glasses with the tape in the middle.
Yeah.
Classic nerd fix.
And it is. And there's like a weird lightsaber drawn on it.
There's
that
some
kinda-
mythic nerd symbols on that can.
And there's like live long and prosper. There's like, I don't know, there's like the Roman numeral 7. It's a V and 2 1s, and I was like, what's that
What's it
about?
called? Nerd
Probably
Immunity?
episode 7.
Nerd Immunity.
Wow.
There's a lot of text that's on it, and so this is part of like the North Bank Brewers collab group. North Bank Brewers and Independent Beer Brewing in Southwest Washington, which is really awesome. They're doing good stuff. Blake and I were lucky enough to have gone and had this on draft.
And I was lucky enough to be terrified when I turned around to see Dan carrying 2 4-packs and the 2 glasses of beer. And
We're here all day. We're just going to drink.
I had jumped like, oh, what's happening?
Okay, so of these 2 beers, both are up for parole. Which one do you approve?
Oh, that's a good question.
The hazy.
The hazy.
The hazy.
All the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nerd Immunity. Great can. I'm not an ESB fan. ESB kind of tastes like I'm chewing on a diaper sometimes.
Does it taste special?
It doesn't taste special. I don't like ESBs, I don't think.
That's fair.
It's
It's
true.
like it hits me on the side of the tongue, Dan.
Yeah,
Right there.
that's a good way to approach it.
Bitter, yeah.
So typically ESBs are kind of malty.
Yeah,
they're going to have that
malty.
biscuit malt because the grain bill that they use is going to be more biscuity, and that's going to be a little different than American style beers usually are.
Right.
Extra special bitter is just the style in what it's being called. So there's standard bitter, export bitter, special bitter. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have anything to do with the amount of acidity or IBUs that are in the beer. They tend to all have close to the same type or amount of bitterness. It's the flavor profile that changes.
Right.
It's the malt. How heavy is the malt? Does it mask the bitterness? This one, I think, has a really nice, clean approach where it's kind of well balanced. It does have enough hoppiness, and it's traditional British hops, which are going to be earthen, dry leafy, little bit of the hop cone resin, but not much.
It's got hop cone resin in it.
Yeah.
You made pretzel bites,
I
which
did.
I think went really well with this beer.
Yep.
If I were to pair it, I would pair it with like something carby and delicious like those pretzel bites.
Coming soon to the movie and a beer store, Dan's
Oh my
Pretzel
gosh.
Bites.
They were so good.
I like this beer. I just think the hazy matched the film more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
so
know
too.
if it's, or maybe I should have reversed it. This one feels a little sharper to me, and a lot of the heavier stuff happens earlier in the movie. All the downer stuff Randall said. Life gets a little better for Andy in the back half of the film.
It does. And actually, both of these beers, the flavor profile will shift a little bit when they warm up. I let mine sit for like half an hour when I poured it, and I was like, yeah, that tastes really good now. Because I prefer, like for bitters, I want them to be a little warm and a little flat. I don't want all the effervescence and stuff because I want to just like a really smooth, clean malt profile with just a little bit of hops sitting on top. And that's what happens when you let it warm up.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Hi there, I'm John Pleasant of Pleasant Prisons. When people come here, they don't ever leave. Not because we try to keep them in, but because we, just make it a little nicer. We also have laser-guided missile systems, underfed dog patrols, and for good measure, a Jewish mother to guilt you into staying. Pleasant Prisons. What, you're leaving already?
This commercial was brought to you by Warden's Inmate Landscaping Service. Available.
And wood chopping service.
And wood chopping service.
And horse apple digging service.
Yes. Oh my God.
What did you guys learn from watching this movie?
Don't go to prison.
Don't go to prison.
I mean, I've known that for
Incarceration
years.
Really?
sucks.
Really? This is the movie
This is the
that
one
taught
that
you
did.
that.
I thought it was going to be cool like
Okay,
Oz.
okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Oz is
That's
would be-
good.
Oz
That's
is
good.
awful.
way
I can't
more
watch
realistic. I love that show.
J.K. Simmons is on that show.
He is. He's really good.
Now
at
he's
it,
hounding
too.
Spider-Man again. Thank
Yes.
you.
All right. Nerd out,
I think
nerd
I
out.
learned that patience really is a virtue.
Mm.
The way that Andy just is also tied into my favorite just thing about the movie. You don't get hints of what he's doing. Like when you watch Usual Suspects, you figure out afterwards, like, oh, here's what these all lead up to. When they linger on the Bible and the warden almost takes the Bible that was holding the rock hammer, how he keeps looking at the poster, and you think, okay, they're going to tear his poster down. That sucks. Find out later, that was his way of getting out, and it would have been real trouble if they found it. So he just kept
Right.
patient and kept burrowing through, and
There wasn't a lot of foreshadowing about what was going to happen in this film.
no.
No, not
That's
at all.
But they put things right in front of your face to make you think that, that's what he was going to do to escape. Like the rock hammer. They talk about, are you going to escape with this? And he's like, no way.
Or when Red says earlier in the movie, he's just walking through like he's got not a care in the world. Find out
Right.
later it's him dropping parts of his wall just in the yard.
Yeah. I think that makes for a really good reveal when they go back and tell the audience what was really happening. I think that's hard to do in movies, like reveal what was really happening in a convincing way without it having being cheesy.
Well, I'm just glad they didn't break the fourth wall. I'm glad you had the dialogue.
No, it was the one wall.
It was a screen.
It was a screen. It really was a screen. As he was narrating it, he didn't turn to the screen and go, and that's what happened, which does happen nowadays more than you would like. That's like a new thing. But I thank you, Stephen King, and those amazing, crazy,
Frank Darabont,
good actors and directors that thought, let's not do that in this film.
I learned do your taxes.
Do your taxes.
Learn your Bible verses. And if you're ever in prison, take your time. Just take your time, right? If you're going to escape, you don't need to rush it. You got a lot of time on your hands.
Exactly.
What did you learn, Dan?
I think...
Dan knows all. He didn't learn anything.
I didn't learn anything. I've watched Oz.
You learned that this was a long movie.
It's a long movie. It was like 2.5 hour movie. I was like, wow. No, I've seen a lot of prison shows, and I actually saw this movie a long time ago when it first came out. So I had an idea already in my mind as to what I wanted to pick out of the film this time around. And I think it was paying attention to Tim Robbins' nuanced little, like, what hints does he actually give as he's doing things? Because they wouldn't show things repetitively. Like, why do they show them putting the book and the ledger in the safe like 3 times? There has to be a reason for that.
Because
so it's like foreshadowing.
3 is a key story reveal.
Yeah.
The number 3 has power.
It does. So that's the kind of things I was looking out for. I was like, what?
Very
Right.
cool.
Okay, so I know that there's really good writing and direction, and there's, amazing actors. But really, why did they do what they did? And he got away with it. He admitted to his friends, I had to go to jail to become a crook.
He was always innocent. Andy he was always himself, right? He never felt like he was guilty until his spirit was almost broken when he realized maybe he really did kill his wife, right?
Yeah.
By pushing her away. So he felt guilty but yeah, he got out.
But yeah, the movie's about hope.
It's about it's about, I think the main character was Red, right? Because like Red's the one who has to choose. Is he going to end up like Brooks, or is he going to is he going to sort of
he changed,
follow Andy's path? Yeah.
If he would have just been that jerk during the parole hearing 30 years prior, he probably would have got released a lot sooner.
Well, that's
I
the
noticed
thing.
it's a different people, different hearing. Not a bunch of old white men. Now there's a woman there, younger guy.
Yeah. It was 3 scenes though, right? In the first, he was obviously trying to bullshit the board. And so they rejected him. In the second, he bullshit the board, but you could tell his heart wasn't in it. And then it wasn't until he was honest with himself the third time that he was set free, which was interesting. So I feel like this movie is kind of perfect for COVID because I don't know about you, but I feel like I've been imprisoned by COVID. It's a pretty hopeless time. But I think we really have a choice, right? We have a choice to either hang ourselves like Brooks did.
Get busy podcasting or get busy sleeping all day.
Exactly. I think all of us are in a way are the Red character, right? Like we believe, we got ourselves into a mess, just like Red admitted he murdered somebody, he killed somebody, and we got ourselves into a mess here.
The only guilty man in Shawshank.
Yeah, exactly, right? The only guilty.
Everyone here is innocent,
right?
Except for one.
And so no one's really innocent. Not everybody's really guilty, except Red was really guilty.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene was, I think that was the reveal scene at the end. Like it really was well orchestrated, right? Like where they basically go shot for shot and they show you what really happens, how he really escaped. That was really cool. And so
for me, it was the
rooftop.
That's what I was gonna say. The rooftop for me.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of suds. Andy working this whole deal to get these guys beer and a morning off, and then he doesn't even drink.
It's the perfect podcast movie. There was beers and movies in this film.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
What was your favorite scene, Dan?
Oh, the movie scene, because it's like because it's like you're like, did they really get to watch film in prison?
Yeah, like how believable
I
is
think
it?
they do that.
Really?
I feel like there's, from what I've read, a little bit of there's some semblance of movie nights. Kind of, it might be in the minimal security, the less hardcore ones where it's like white collar crimes.
Yeah, because
Probably.
these guys are
Right.
like hardened criminals. Like you're
Yeah.
in there for a
Murder.
reason.
You
murder
killed
and
people.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So I that's where I my suspension of belief had to really hit at that point because I was like,
But the
yeah, they
hair
don't-
flip.
yeah,
Was that your favorite scene? The hair flip?
That was my favorite. However many frames that was my favorite set of frames.
yes.
Let's play a game.
I'm ready.
Oh, it's game time.
I've been prepping.
So
Keyword.
do you want to give us a preface on this game here?
How do we
Explain it?
play? What's the name of the game?
IMDb keyword beer name game.
Keyword beer name game. I like that.
I don't think we have a
Keyword
set
beer
name
match?
yet.
I don't think we branded it yet, but
Yeah.
basically what we do is we go to IMDb, we click on the keywords for the movie, and usually there's some really great keywords here that sort of summarize different plot points or themes in the movie, and we pick some and mash them up to make interesting sounding beer names. And Blake, it sounds like you have some.
The first one I noticed while we were talking, I was totally paying attention. Absolutely, was a Tar Pitch Regret.
Ooh. Dan, what kind of beer is Tar Pit Regret?
That would be like a super thick with 2 C's stout.
I hate that
Like
bit.
super
I hate Reynolds' bit of
bourbon
lying to me.
barrel.
These are all bad bits.
Oh, they're bad bits.
but
Lots
sorry,
of-
I cut you off. What kind of beer?
Yeah, super thick, heavy, giant bourbon barrel aged.
That sounds
stout.
right.
Because it's going to be like you're going to remember it. It's going to stick to your ribs.
It's gonna stick to your tongue.
Yeah.
That's one where the taste lingers for a while.
So it'd be like a lactic stout or a milk stout, as they refer to.
Yeah.
Super coat on the tongue, and it doesn't go away, and you have to kind of scratch at it with your teeth to get it off.
I regret saying it out loud.
Let's go to the fridge and open up a can of Christianity Shower Room.
Ooh,
Dan, what
that's
kind
a
of beer
Pilsner,
is
right?
Christianity Shower Room?
Is it non-alcoholic?
It's non-alcoholic
It's a
beer.
non-alcoholic beer. Okay,
It's
fair
very
enough.
vanilla.
How about the Not Guilty Redemption?
There you go.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I would
Not
say
guilty
a
redemption.
collaboration beer, like the ones that we tried, like where you're expecting it to be one thing and it actually turns out to be something else.
Nice.
So, or it's just a misleading name because people call whatever they want, and you can't really stop them from doing that. So,
What would we rename Nerd Immunity based on what we think it tastes like in these keywords?
Opera Oak Tree.
Ooh. Opera Oak Tree. That-
Also, I've got one ready to challenge Dan with. Based on novella Harlot.
novella
based on-
harlot?
No,
Or
the
based
whole thing is
on-
based on novella Harlot. It's based on novellas
Oh,
and the
that would be a
keywords.
sour
Yeah.
asgosa
Nice.
with lots of salt.
Ugh.
Okay. I would rename the Nerd Immunity the Portland, Maine Regret.
Ooh.
Get it?
that'd be
Portland,
interesting.
Maine Regret.
So
I
at
regret they're not in Oregon.
So one of the, if you go back up to the top of the list, there's the one I want to use is wrongful imprisonment because that shows up like 19 times in the
Wrongful
film.
imprisonment, right?
I would just call it wrongful imprisonment. I mean, I would
just
just say
picking
it's
the one
like
term.
yeah, just
It works.
How about the gay rape prison library?
That is something you would see if you watch the TV show Oz.
Isn't that a Cinemax late night film?
No.
Yeah, no, it was in Oz. And if you don't know what we're referring to, there's a TV show that was produced for like 3 seasons called Oz, OZ, and it's about a prison, and it was very true to like very violent and graphic.
4 out of 8 people found that term relevant for IMDb, which is
Well, they tried to. I mean, the guys, and that's the thing. I mean,
was some
the
sodomy
film
happening.
did reflect it of what prison life is like, where you have these gangs, and these gangs want certain things, and if you don't give it to them or do
Right.
cooperate, they beat you up. And sometimes they get a little bit they get carried away and don't know how to stop.
there were some bad people in this film.
I wish he would have shanked them, because then it would have
Yeah.
been a
Oh my
Shawshank.
gosh.
Oh,
Dan's dabbing right now.
Oh, killing it. Get it?
because there was all kinds of things. I mean, the dude had a shank. He had a shank. The one guy had the
He
shank.
did. There was
Oh,
an
yeah, one of
actual
the
shank.
sisters.
Yeah,
And-
ice pick, yeah.
Like months later, after they keep beating him up, trying to get him to submit to them, he could have shanked them back. He had all kinds of access to stuff and tools. I mean, they were working in a, and that's the one thing that kind of surprises me. It's like, well, you really don't want to do the dumb thing and like hurt somebody because it just makes your prison sentence longer.
All of these guys just needed a hug.
Pretty much.
A warden,
A beer and a hug.
beer and a hug. Oh, what kind of beer were they drinking on the roof? A Bohemian?
A Bohemian Pilsner, I would imagine.
What is a Bohemian Pilsner?
It might be like the National Bohemian that's out of Maryland, I think.
Yeah.
And is it really safe to let somebody drink 3 beers on a roof? With no
They're criminals. What do they care? They're criminals.
I was about to say, considering how light it is, but also
okay,
considering they
yeah.
probably haven't had any drinks except for some whiskey they smuggle in.
Yeah,
They're
because it's
probably
probably smuggling all
lightweights.
kinds of stuff.
Lightweights, yeah. You know.
I mean, and so and speaking of smuggling things in, there's black market and like brutality. You know, that would be a good
That
the
sounds like
black
a
market
stout.
brutality.
Black market brutality, yeah.
It sounds like a stout they try something weird with.
Yeah.
I got Missing Prisoner Trial.
Ooh, what kind of beer is that? Missing Prisoner. That's the
Hazy?
that's the beer that's missing out of your 6-pack.
Yes.
There you
That's
Or
the missing beer.
That's the missing beer where you bought a 6-pack and someone swapped out one of the bottles and you didn't realize it until you got it home and you opened the one that was not what you thought it was.
Dan's talking about my life
Yep.
story over here.
Yes.
Crack a bottle, think it's going to be a red ale, and then like double IPA.
What?
Oh God, why?
Okay, how about Rock Hammer Brutality?
I can see them naming a lager that to think
Yeah.
make it
Lager.
sound tough, but
Yeah.
then you sip and go.
It's not tough.
Oh,
at
it's-
all.
it's a light.
Yeah, it's a Rock Hammer.
It's a rock hammer. It's
Yeah,
small
yeah,
and
damage,
light.
yeah.
You could. It's not going to mess you up.
Okay, so of these 2 beers, who's drinking what? Andy and Red. Andy's going to go for the
IPA.
the hazy.
I think so.
Yeah. And
Red's way more smooth. He knows that it's like, I'm going to get me a smooth beer. Because, like I said, if you let this warm up a little bit, the ESB,
it is smooth.
it gets
yeah,
way smooth.
Let me get
it
one
gets better.
nerd immunity, please.
Yes.
Right. Okay, the warden, bad guy warden, and his buddy,
His top guard.
his top guard, who's drinking what?
I think the top guard's drinking the hazy.
Yeah. I don't think the warden would drink beer. He would need a shot
think-
of liquor.
Yeah, he'd probably need a shot of liquor. Who else was in this film that we could play this game with?
I don't want to say the sisters, but there were 2 of them at first.
Yeah.
I don't want to give those characters any more time.
Yeah, they weren't nice people.
Not a lot of pairings in this movie.
No, yeah.
So there was the one inspirational thing, though, which I thought was really cool, was when he locked himself into the room that had the loudspeaker system.
That
and he
was a close second for my favorite
Yeah,
scene.
playing the aria, which
was
is
a
one of
great
the
scene.
keywords. It's like an Italian opera. Well, it wasn't really an opera. Well, maybe it was an opera.
I think it's an opera. I can't
That's-
remember what it was. I looked up what it was about, but I forgot what the.
it was
what
music,
about.
and they
It was-
can't take away music
Yes.
from you. And that was the hopeful thing, is that there was this thing that, the horrible prison couldn't take away from them, which makes me feel like, reflecting on COVID in 2020, I feel like, as shitty as a year it's been, I feel like there are some things they can't take away from me, that COVID can't take away, like beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And movies.
beer, movies, and music.
Yeah, well, it's trying to. It's trying to take away the movies. What was the last movie you saw in theaters? Do you
That would
remember
be
it?
the one we went and saw in person, and I want to say it was like 1915. Wasn't that
17? Yeah.
I think that was the last film I saw in a theater.
I think
There
I think
might have
that
been
was-
something-
It was that one, or maybe Little Women, or
Yeah. We saw Little Women
yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
A lot of people's last theater movie was Cats.
Hey, they
Those
are
poor
putting
people.
that on
Can you
HBO. I keep
imagine?
scrolling by it, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I
gosh.
tried watching like 5 minutes of it, and I was cringing so much. I was like, this
Apparently,
is so
the thing to
bad.
do is to take mushrooms and go see it and genuinely try to enjoy it, not make fun of it. And it's just so
It's so
wild and
hard.
crazy.
So hard. It's like, is this the cut with the butts or not?
You could say it's the Shawshank Redemption of our age.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, I don't mean that.
Yeah. So, the kind of cool thing is so yeah, Morgan Freeman narrates the whole film, and it's sort of from his perspective sometimes, but other times it's actually just talking about what's going on, because there's a lot going on in prison, more than you would imagine. 'Cause
Yeah.
somebody always wants something, and he said, well, I don't have any enemies, and he's like, just give it some time,
Yep.
because eventually somebody's going to cross you in the wrong way, and life is going to get miserable. So what was the last thing Tim Robbins did? I haven't seen him in the films in a really long time.
He's in a series called Castle Rock.
Okay, that's TV.
It's TV.
I think that's based off Stephen King, isn't it?
Yes. I believe so.
What are we gonna watch next time?
I don't know. We should find another Stephen King film that's inspirational. Like It.
Or Maximum Overdrive.
But you know what? Andy made it through Shawshank, and we can make it through COVID. It might take 20 years.
Yes, we can.
I might have to travel through 500 yards of shit, but we'll make it eventually, right?
I don't like that either.
Stay positive, Blake. Stay positive.
I just traveled through like 500 yards of just old water.
Crappy 2020.
Liquidated 2020. That's what Andy crawled through.
Get busy drinking or get busy dying.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Beautiful.
All right. So I think we're coming to the end of our wonderful sort of COVID-sode. I mean, we haven't gotten our shots yet, but we're working on it.
They're all COVID episodes.
It is at this point. So
that's what I mean when you guys said you guys date everything. One day there hopefully won't be COVID, and I'll listen back to this and go, oh yeah,
what the hell was that?
Or one day we'll be like, the good old days.
Yeah.
As we step into the mutant wasteland and farm ourselves.
So as always, thank you everyone for listening. If you are going to imbibe or enjoy something while you are watching a film such as this, please remember to hydrate.
Or dehydrate.
Yes, because you don't want to do that.
Get busy hydrating or get busy dehydrating.
Yeah, start digging your hole. Start digging your hole. So again, briefly, Shawshank Redemption. We all really liked it. It's seen it a few times. Good film. The two beers, the ESB and the hazy, I think both went well with the film. The hazy, I think we all thought went best. Really suggest find something you're comfortable with and isn't going to distract you.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally about to say don't distract because it's such a good film.
And it's a slow film in parts, but whatever. Yeah. Thumbs up on both beers. Thumbs up on the film. Remember to hydrate because Lord knows we needed that today. That was a rough morning.
I went to bed at 10:30.
He did. He was smart.
Humble brag.
Yeah. All right. So as always, the opinions expressed during the taping of this recording are those of the hosts. And this is Dan Kopersky signing off.
This is Blake signing off.
Randall.
All right, everybody. Take care. Be safe.
Paroled. Approved. Parole approved.
Parole approved.